Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing?
Doing good, Dr. Edu.
Good evening. Thanks.
Well,
Great, great. So you're all welcome. Eretmis Cyber Chat. We do this every Friday night, and if this is your first time, you are most welcome. Welcome to the family. We are starting off time now. I think all housekeeping stuff has been taken care of, so we are good to go. Now, hopefully, everybody had a great week, and it's the weekend. So, like I always say, it's good weekend. You get to at least relax a little bit and get ready for the following week to start getting busy again. So tonight we have a very interesting discussion. We are going to look at some of the myths and facts about getting into the security space, working in the security space. So there's a lot of questions that are going to be answered, and I encourage everyone to chime in as we move forward. Bring your own questions, your own experiences from when you're trying to get into the industry, or if you are still looking to get into. And there are a lot of them because I talk to a lot of people trying to get into the security space. So without wasting much time, let's get started. And kindly put in the chat where you're joining us from. So and then also you can put in the chat hashtag Team Live that you and take a screenshot of that. You can use that to renew your certification, right? And when we get to the renewal of certification part, we will discuss more. There were some discussions on the WhatsApp group about how to renew your certification and how many educational points do you need for different certifications. We will elaborate a little bit more as we move forward. So tonight's topic, 10 mistakes to avoid when you are trying to switch into the cybersecurity space, or even when you're in the cybersecurity space and you are trying to, get onto a second job or a second role. This is also going to help. There are so many people who get their first cybersecurity roles. They've been working for a while. Now they are trying to jump onto a second role, and it becomes almost impossible, right? And maybe this will help you to uh, maybe see why, or at least get something for your toolbox to help you be able to break that. Uh, uh, break that gap, or be able to break that ceiling, if you want to look at it that way, right? So appreciate everybody's time, and we are starting time now. So our memorial sales discount is ending tomorrow, probably midnight tomorrow. So if you've looking to jump into any of our courses, you can take advantage of that to get a 20% discount. And tomorrow is graduation for our interns, our January 25 cohort. We encourage you to join us tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern to 11 a.m. Eastern, to celebrate our graduates for hard work done. For all past interns, kindly come and support your own. You know the amount of work and the time that goes into this. So come cheer them up, and we will be expecting everyone to join us to celebrate our graduating interns. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Edu. If it is your first time meeting me on Cyber Chat, I'm a former United States Army captain. I'm the CEO of Eretmis Inc., a cybersecurity consulting firm based out of New York, and also the founder of Eretmis Academy. We train cybersecurity professionals, and then also a former professor, University of Maryland Global Campus, and CTC as well, and a member of the Forbes Technology Council. So I'm going to be your sole pilot for tonight, and everybody else is going to be my co-pilot, because you're going to help in the discussion. So Eretmis Academy, we are authorized partners with CompTIA, and what that means is that we have a 20% discount that we pushed down to everybody in the community. So if you're trying to sit for security plus, security analyst, any of the CompTIA certifications, you get a 20% discount. Now, this is only for CompTIA. We don't have any discount for the other certification bodies. So if you are looking to sit for CompTIA, then you can reach out and we will help you out. So getting to your continuing education. So to write risk certification, if you write security plus, security analyst, any certification, you have to recertify every 3 years, right? Now, some certifications like CISA, CISSP, and others, they have a minimum yearly requirement for your credit, continuing education credits is 20 per year, right? So I think 20, and for 3 years, it should be, I think it's 20 per year. For them, it's 20 per year or 40 per year, and I think for the 3 years is, for the 3 years is 120. So I think it's 40 per year, right? So you have to be able to meet that every year, for you to. So by the end of your 3 years, you have enough to requalify, right? Or you can simply just resit for the exam, right? Most people don't want to resit for the exam. So you can use, continuing education like attending Cyber Chat, an hour of each session that we have every Friday night is 1 point. So if you attend the full session, mostly we do 2 hours, it's 2 points. And if you do 10 of those, right, you get 20 points. Now for CompTIA Security Plus, it's 50 points for the whole 3 years, right? So you can just put hashtag Team Live and take a screenshot of it and use that for your renewal, right? And you just pay the renewal fee. I think for CompTIA is like $50 or something, and you'll be able to renew, right? So the different, if you really want to learn more about the specific requirements for different certifications, you can go to your website or you can Google how to renew Security Plus, how to renew CISA, and all that instructions are going to be on there, right? So with that being said, we have a WhatsApp group. The link is going to be posted. If you are joining us for the first time, you can join this group, and all the information about Cyber Chat and all other cybersecurity dealings will be put on there, so you'll be in the know every time. Okay. So, and moving forward, our YouTube channel, what we are doing tonight and all the previous Fridays, we posted on YouTube. So you'll be able to, catch anything that you missed on YouTube, and we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So for tonight, we'll look at some cybersecurity news, and then we will jump into our discussion for tonight, right? So you are all most welcome. Now in cyber news, the Chief of Staff for President Trump, she's in the news this week, not for anything she did surely by herself, but because there's an attack, some impersonation, social engineering attack that is targeting her. So Susan Wales, she is the Chief of Staff. Now, there have been calls. This is what attackers did. So they generated her voice using AI generated voice to mimic the Chief of Staff's voice. And they were using that to make phone calls to Republican officials to ask for money, and then also to kind of talk about what is going on now, which is pardon here, pardon there, pardon list, and cash transfer, right? So, and they were successful. They were able to get some people to give them some money, right? So FBI is investigating this now, and I think they said it originated from her cell phone, right? So what are your takes on this? What do you like? How is this possible? Anybody has any clue? How do attackers pull this off? Maybe 2 or 3 people, you can raise your virtual hand. What do you think are some of the ways, right, in the technology that you'll be able to pull this off? They said AI generated voice technology. I mean, there's a whole lot of them out there. It's not generating the voice that is the issue, or that is the difficult portion, but being able to pull this off, because how did they even get the list? The Republican officials, right, and their cell phones and their contacts, well, some of which you can get online, but it has to be a little bit more than just making her voice. If they're able to get into her cell phone, then they will be able to get more information and more contacts right? That makes it even more believable, right? It's like if somebody hacked into your friend's WhatsApp and they are using that to call you or they are using that to test you, right? It's more believable than me just randomly calling and saying, "Hey, John, this is, Emmanuel. You remember me from, wherever. That is not really going to work, right? So the social engineering piece is what always make these types of attacks very dangerous, most of the time, because it's very believable because of where it's coming from, right? So next in the news, we have Apple in there. And now this is a caution to everybody using an iPhone. There is an update. Apple has released an update. Their OS, iOS 18.5 to fix some critical vulnerabilities that could allow an attacker to get onto your phone, right? So they encourage you to make sure you're updating your iPhone immediately, right? So if there is any updates, if you're in that habit of pushing off your updates, it's a very bad security habit. So make sure you are getting your updates done. This is a caution to all iPhone users. Now, our graduation tomorrow, we encourage everyone to come in, cheer our interns up for their hard work and also listen to what they've gone through and what this program made has made them to become, right? Or has made them to be, right? If you want to put it that way. And then also our sales, the 20% is ending tomorrow. And we are going to go through some of the courses that we offer: governance, AI governance for all security professionals, or if you are waiting to get your first cybersecurity role, I encourage you to look into AI governance as well. Now, this is going to be the new added on to most cybersecurity roles, right? And AI governance is also a standalone course that you can take and a standalone role for now, right? So it's still in the growing stages, not as broad and well structured as cybersecurity. Cybersecurity started from the same, beginnings. So if you get on this way ahead of everybody else, you'll be among the pioneers to be able to do this, right? So we encourage you to look into our AI governance program, the best program out there. And then also for security folks, you also know you have to know how to move around in the cloud. Being a cloud professional is not a cloud security professional is not just taking AWS solutions architect. That is solutions architect, right? So most of the times people think doing a solutions architect program or learning how to do that qualifies you as a cloud security professional. Not necessarily. So our cloud security professional program is vendor neutral. So you are going to learn AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. These are the three main cloud providers that we are going to run you through. And we look at it from strategic point, how to manage risks and, incident response, identity, and everything. And then we do hands-on. It's very hands-on heavy, right? You cannot move in the cloud without knowing how to move in the cloud. It is not theory or just concepts. You have to actually know how to move and maneuver in the cloud to save your company in terms of anything that they are doing in the cloud. And if you are looking to begin your cybersecurity career from scratch, don't let somebody sell you on RMF or just go do third-party rigs, like third-party rigs assessment, or just go learn, some framework, because you need a foundation before you can, specialize in anything. And this program, the entry-level course, gives you that foundation and beyond. Now, the second portion of the entry-level course also puts you in different seats. That is the internship and workshop. You work on different projects. So once you're done, you can hold a third-party role, you can hold a risk analyst role, a GRC specialist role, right? And you are doing that based off the foundation that you had in the first 2 months of the program. And there are also a lot of tools that you are going to learn how to use, not just learn how to use and use them as part of the first portion of the program, right? So if you're looking to get into cybersecurity space, don't waste your time moving from one course to the other, trying to become a third-party risk analyst trying to become, well, you can go that route and still get a job, but you're still going to be a half-baked or not even a big cybersecurity professional, right? And there's always going to be that, you're always going to feel like there's a target behind you, like a target behind your back, right? So you have to make sure you are crossing all your T's, building a very strong foundation before you jump into the security space, right? And then also for our PCI payment security compliance program, this is for folks who are already in the IT space or are already in the cybersecurity space. This is a niche that cuts across all industries and all countries, is global, right? The only I'll say the only framework that is global and also mandatory. So companies, they don't have any option, but they have to stay in compliance with PCI if they accept credit card, debit card, and they store, process, or transmit it. Unlike other frameworks that are, even the ones that are global, are nice to have, you can choose to or not choose to follow them, right? So that is what makes PCI unique and is arguably the most lucrative niche in the cybersecurity space, right? So, and lastly, our GRC internship, our graduates will be able to speak to this more. Our graduates tomorrow will speak to this more. Now, this program is where we bridge the gap between theory, concepts, and doing, right? You can learn and know the theory and the concept all day, but if you really don't do or you don't work on any project, then you wouldn't be able to function on the job, right? And you don't want to get a job and get fired in the next 3 months. So get onto this program. If you've taken some RMF course, some GRC course, whatever you've done, get on here and, work on some projects. So with that being said, our WhatsApp group, the link for you to join will be posted. Our YouTube channel, also we encourage you, Eretmis Cybersecurity. If you go on YouTube, you are going to find us there, and everything else that we do will be on there as well. Now we are going to start with 10 myths about cybersecurity career, right? So before we jump in, I'll open the floor to everybody. I mean, kindly raise your virtual hand. You can maybe come up with some of these myths. Maybe it is going to be in the top 10 list. So I'm waiting for the first person to give us one of the myths that you hear a lot in the security space. Afia, please go ahead. You are muted if you're trying to speak. And this can be your own question, not necessarily a myth. It can be your own question about the security space. Hey, do I have to know math? I mean, I can give you a whole rundown of a list. Somebody will even ask, do I have to know how to type really fast? And all those they are not stupid or dumb questions. They are genuine questions that people have because of what they've heard, right? So you can raise your virtual hand and let me know. If you are, please go ahead. You are muted if you are trying to speak. Oh, okay, Eric, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Adu. Happy Friday. So most of the people, they think by going in cybersecurity, you have to have IT background, such as programming. So, and when you read that, it looks like people, they abandoned, but that is not a requirement.
Yes, that is a big one. Thank you, Eric. How is the baby, Eric? I mean, the baby is
Doing
a
well.
big baby now.
I'm telling you, he's running around.
Okay, okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, Adu.
Anybody else with any of these, questions or myths that you might have about cybersecurity? Well, let me tell you one funny one. So if Frank is here, uh, Frank in his cohort when he was doing the entry level, he was in with a very brilliant young man called Clement. Now, apparently, when they were done with the program and Clement was about to write Security Plus, his uncle told him if he's black, he's never going to get a job in cybersecurity. So he abandoned it right after he was done with the program. And he continued doing what he was doing. I think he was working somewhere. I think he was working close to where he kind of lived in the same vicinity with Frank, right? So apparently, he's not going to get a job because he was black. Now, once they were done, some months down the line, Frank got a job And the funny part of the story is Frank is also black. So don't know what his uncle was smoking, but his uncle, who apparently wasn't working in cybersecurity, tell him, hey, don't waste your time. This is for if you are black, you're not going to get a job. So that is one of the funny, and everybody here, I think, will probably laugh at that, even if you are not in the security space, right? And any maybe funny ones like that from anyone, any mates or questions that you might have yourself. Is there some in the chat? There was a hand up before Eric went. Go ahead, George.
One thing I heard was one of my uncles was saying that once you have got antivirus, you are protected. That's it. That's all you need for your network to be protected. And that one was a funny one to me.
Oh, okay. I mean, that is more on, it's funny and more on the ignorant side, right? Even your antivirus also needs protection, right? If you don't update your antivirus, it's of no use, right? So, yeah. Oh, okay. Another one. People keep saying you need security clearance to get a job. That is also a myth. Not necessarily true. Depends on if you are looking for a government job, then some, even that is not all of them. Some government jobs will require you to have security clearance. Some will even go to the extent of getting the security clearance for you, right? So for the jobs that will require security clearance, you also need to be a citizen. But that is just, a mini part of the whole entire story. So if you're hanging on to, well, I'm not a citizen, so you think if you want to work for Bank of America, they care if you're a citizen or not? Do they care? They don't, right? So, and for the government, they wouldn't even have cared whether you were a citizen or not, but because of the type of information you are going to come in contact with, right? Is a sensitive, and in the government side, they've classified all their data, right? So the data you are going to come in contact with, if it's classified as secret, or if it's classified as sensitive, or if it's top secret, then you need to have that same level of clearance to be able to work with that data. That is the only reason why the government side, they even need you to be a citizen. And to have that clearance, you have to be a citizen. So hopefully everybody gets that explanation, right? So that is also one big myth, right? Eric, please go ahead. I think Eric has another one.
Yes, that happened to me. Remember when I was joining before? I used to be a network security engineer, and the people were saying you're wasting your money because I had enough experience with firewalls. Because of ignorance, people they think if you can configure, you can design, implement firewalls is enough to be qualified in cybersecurity. But that was wrong.
Yeah, true. And Eric has been in networking for over 300 years. Right? Eric has been there. He's done that. I mean, he's done everything and anything in networking. So, and for him to come through and do the entry level course and ask him what he was able to grab for the entry level, plus the internship that he did, right? And like he's saying, most people will say, I mean, you've been a network engineer for 20 years, the senior network engineer, why waste your time go do cybersecurity? You know that already. But that is not the truth, right? You are going to be, some part of it as you need for your job, but not the whole entire story, right? And it goes beyond just, setting up your firewalls and your routers and your intrusion detection systems. It goes way beyond that, right? So thank you, Eric, for bringing that up. Now, also on here, Serial is saying, a friend said, I will have to sign, or you have to sign your life away to get a government job in cybersecurity. Also, that is a big myth, right? We have a lot of students, they had no military background or anything. They are working on the government side. There are a whole list of them, right? So really, that is not true. And you need to have an IT degree. That is also a myth. It's not true. You need to be a master coder. Yes, that is not also true. You need CompTIA Security Plus certification before being considered for employment. That is also not true. And we are going to look at all that tonight. Right. Rolly, please go ahead.
Mine is a question. Mine is a question. Yeah. So why do they always depict an hacker with a person that wears hoodie and sits behind a computer?
Why do they depict a hacker with
an hacker? They always depict them with a person that wears an hoodie that sits behind the computer.
Well, yeah, I think that is kind of like a stereotype, right? So a hacker is there's kind of trend that folks in Silicon Valley they started wearing hoodies and jeans and sweatpants to work because they kind of wanted to change the like the status code of wearing suit and tie, right? And that is where that came from, right? And a hacker, some smart pants who is hiding somewhere in his basement or living room with a hoodie trying to. So it's kind of like that stereotype, just the same way that they want to depict, if like they are depicting maybe some characters in the Bible and Quran and other places like Satan, they will give him some horns and stuff like that. It's just a stereotype. There's really, but where it all started from is what I've told you. In Silicon Valley, they started wearing hoodie and jeans and stuff, and so it kind of looked like all the computer guys they are wearing hoodie and jeans and very casual, right? So for the ones who are hacking, they are also going to be wearing a hoodie and stuff like that. But that is where that came from, right? So with that, I think let me see if there is something in there. Okay, so Osai is also saying, I'm trying to get into cybersecurity space. I learned that you need to be very good at programming if you want to be successful in cybersecurity, and also without cybersecurity certifications, you cannot get a job. How true is this? Not true, right? And we are going to talk about all these tonight. It's not true. You don't need to know, and don't even take it from me. There are a lot of Eretmis students on here who are working, who can't even code one single line in Java or in Python or even in maybe Bash. We kind of do a little Bash in the entry-level course, but they are not coders by any means, right? They didn't have an IT background. They have, most of them, degrees from health, from different areas, not even an IT career people, right? But they are all working in the cybersecurity space now. So we can move on and look at some of these. So one, you have to be a coder. You have to know how to code. One big myth, you have to be a coding genius. It is not true, right? And this is the reason why. Now, there are some areas of cybersecurity you need coding, yes. But there are so many other areas that you don't need coding. So why should coding be, something that is going to block you from getting into cybersecurity? Right. So mostly where you need coding is going to be on the red side of cybersecurity. So in cybersecurity, all professionals, we can generally put them in two baskets or two main categories. So we have the red team, the blue team. Now some schools of thought have come up with purple team and white team, but really we can just put them into two. You are defending or you are attacking as a cybersecurity professional, right? Now, if you are defending, you are on the defense team, which is the blue team. If you are attacking, you're on the offensive team, which is the red team. Now, on the red side is where we have penetration testing, forensics, ethical hacking, right? Ethical hacking, penetration testing, they are the same. So on that side is where you are going to, you have to know coding, right? But if you don't want to be a pen tester, and even now, there are some people doing pen testing who are not even up to speed with coding. But to be a really, really good pen tester and to be able to do a lot of stuff, you need to know coding at least, and not to just to know basics, but you have to be like 10 over 10, 9 over 10 for most of these programs, like at least Python, Bash, Ruby, and the rest. You need to be well vested in them, right? So, but on the blue side, you are doing GRC, rigs analyst, cybersecurity analyst, programs manager, So whatever compliance programs manager, you don't need coding to be able to do those, right? So, and it's not like you get paid more for being an ethical hacker or pen tester. So, and you get paid less on the blue side if you're doing any of these other roles. Sometimes you even get paid more on the blue side than on the red side, right? So that has been debunked right there. You don't need coding to be able to do this. Silo, please go ahead. Your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I just I want to add something while he talking about cybersecurity. I have a bachelor degree in audit, accounting, content audit, but I read in somewhere you can just continue with audit as a cybersecurity.
Yes, please go ahead. So is yours a question? Like, are you asking if you can continue as an auditor in the cybersecurity side?
Yeah, because I saw it when I read somewhere about the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. When I try to understand what is the connection with audit and cybersecurity, and I read somewhere is I think it's work together, but I don't know exactly. I don't have a clear message
Okay.
about that
Okay. Yes.
information.
So in cybersecurity, we also do auditing, right? So if you're an auditor in any field, the skills and the knowledge of doing auditing, not the technicality of it, the skills and knowledge of doing auditing, pretty much the same, right? So if you know if you learn cybersecurity, you can, cycle back and do auditing in cybersecurity. So, but you have to know kind of the cybersecurity side of the house, and then you apply your auditing skills and knowledge that you have, and you'll be able to still do cybersecurity auditing, right? In the same way, if you're, let's say you are doing auditing in oil and gas, and you want to transition to be an accountant, you have to learn the accounting technical stuff, but the auditing side of doing accounting auditing, the principles of auditing and the techniques, they still remain the same. And it's the same that transfers to all industries, including cybersecurity, right? Same thing if you're like risk analyst, financial risk analyst for your company, and you want to transition into cybersecurity, you can become a cybersecurity risk analyst. But caveat to that, you also have to know the technical cybersecurity stuff, the principles of conducting, the concepts of conducting risk assessment and all that, those principles and concepts, they still remain the same. The skills you have still remains the same. So all those are transferable skills that you can bring into the cybersecurity side, right? Yes. So hopefully that helps.
Okay. And may I?
All right. So I think that answers your question. If you have another question, you can raise your virtual hand. Now, the next is cybersecurity is not all about hacking, right? So another myth, aside you being a programmer, you have to, be able to hack and no hacking. Now, cybersecurity, like I explained, it goes beyond that, right? Hacking is mostly on the offensive side. That is professionals who are attacking, trying to break into our systems. And why they are doing that is to help identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses within our system for us to find solutions or remediations to them before a real thief who is a real hacker will get their hands on our system and steal and cause problems and issues for a company, right? Now the next one is you need a computer science degree or you need an IT degree to be able to do anything in cybersecurity, which is also a big myth. It's not true. And don't even take my word for it. I think when anybody who wants to raise his virtual hand, there's a whole bunch of them on here. I think there are almost 100 folks on here, but I just spotted Michael, Bobby, and some other folks. They don't. I'm not sure if Michael did some degree in like a master's or something in cybersecurity, but I don't think his bachelor's was in cybersecurity. Michael, I know for a fact, don't have a degree in cybersecurity or computer science, but he's been working in cybersecurity for the past 3 years thereabout, right? So it is really, you don't have to right? It's not a requirement. No employer is going to say, well, based on our interview, I think you really sound like you can do the job, you know your stuff, but we can't take you because you don't have an IT degree. Sorry. No. Well, Bobby answered here. So Bobby didn't do any masters in cybersecurity or don't have a degree in IT or cybersecurity. And Bobby is working, right? So Bobby went through entry-level internship and he's working in the cybersecurity space. All right. So what is the next myth? Certifications alone can guarantee you the job. So this is a big one. Some people I call them certification chasers, right? You know how we have like the storm chasers, you're chasing the storm to take videos of it, and if there is a wild storm, they want to. There are some people like that, and all those people, they are misinformed in the cybersecurity space, right? And mostly it's people who are trying to get into the industry. They think, okay, if I get Security Plus, if I get CISA, if I get this, then my chances of getting a job becomes, broader and broader, and I'll be able to land it. Not necessarily true. You can parade all the certifications you want, but mostly for people who are starting in the industry, the more certifications you have, the more of a hole you are digging yourself into. Because mostly this is what happens. You don't have the knowledge and skill to back these certifications up. And you are just, because you are smart, you can pass an exam, you are just memorizing test questions, and you are, finding all ways and means to pass these certifications, thinking once you have it, that is the golden ticket. It is not. Because if you have the certification, then if that is it, why are they still going to interview you to try to see what you've done and what you can do? Right. And during that interview, you are going to look like a moron if you are coming there with Security Plus, CISA, CISSP, SIM, right? And a security analyst. You have like 5 certifications, parading them, so proud. And then now when they ask you simple and basic cybersecurity questions on how to do simple stuff, you are running around in circles, right? How does that make you look? But most people don't get that piece. They think if you have the certifications, then that kind of opens the door. Now, granted, a caveat to that is there are some government contracts, and I think a cyber chat that we did 2 or 3 cyber chats ago. Anybody remembers that? For some government jobs and most of the government positions for cybersecurity and even IT in general, they have a list of some certifications that you need per categories, right? So those ones, they are the only jobs that you need to have the certification. Aside those jobs, you don't need to have a certification. Now, even for those ones, they just list the minimum. Maybe this job, you need Security Plus, you need, right, to hold these jobs, you need Security Plus, you need that. Even for that, even if you don't have the certification and you go in there within progress in front of your certification, and they think you are better than all the people with a certification, they're going to pick you and ask you to get it in 6 months. Right? Mostly they'll ask you, when are you going to get the certification by? What they really want is to demonstrate that you've done something and you can do something, not the certification. So for anyone, if somebody has fed you with that notion of get the certifications, get CISA, get CISSP, well, you can get them, it's good. But like I'm saying, that is not going to be, that is not going to guarantee you the job. And the more you get, the more you are required to know, and the more you are required to be able to do. So if you don't know much, you can't do much, don't jump ahead of yourself. Start with your Security Plus, gradually get a job, and work on other certifications, right? If you want to start with something like Security Plus or CISA, it's fine. At least get one and then work around it. Don't be piling it up, and then you cannot even defend what you are getting yourself into, right? So it's a solo job. So cybersecurity, and funny story, I had a session with a lady, right? And she was like, well, I want to get into GRC because I hate what I'm doing now. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm an IT auditor, and I don't want to be talking to people and, in meetings every time. So I just want a cybersecurity job that I'm going to be all by myself, doing my own thing. I'm like, oh, then you are in the wrong business. And cybersecurity is not going to be for you. Maybe if you try computer programming or being, a software developer, maybe that will help, right? So go learn some programming, be by yourself. But to work in cybersecurity, there, whether on the blue side or on the red side, you are going to be working in a team. You are going to be talking to people all day, working with people, chasing people around. Whether you are doing ethical hacking, you are doing a security analyst role, policies, whatever you are going to be doing, you are dealing with people and you are working in a team. So you are not going to be by yourself, behind your computer doing just your own thing. You are going to work as part of a team. That is why when you go to interviews, aside your technical proficiency, they also want to see if you are going to be a good fit for the organizational culture. So your interpersonal skills, your team working skills, your team player skills, all of that, they are going to, try to find out. They are not going to ask you directly, but they will infer answers from questions that they are asking you. So they kind of ask you indirectly, right? So that is a big piece of what we need in the cybersecurity space. Because for every interview that you go, there's going to be one interview that is specifically for soft skills, testing how well you'll be able to work with people and work in a team. So you can be the most technically proficient person, but if they think you cannot work with people and you are not a people person, they are not going to pick you, right? So it's not just what you know, your technical knowledge and skill. Your people skills, your soft skills also play a key role here, right? Now, for the next one is only for young people. If you are 50 or 60, why waste your time? I mean, it's not for you. That is also not true. In the cybersecurity space, you are not going to be like, how do I even put it? In a funny way, you're not going to be lifting trees or logs or right. So age really doesn't play a role. What plays a role is you have to know what you're doing, and you should be able to do what they are employing you to do. I mean, the older you are, the better, because the more mature you are, right? Because as you age with grace. You are more matured, you are more wiser, right? You are more patient. You know how to deal with people more. So that should even be a plus if you're older, right, than a negative. So there is nothing like you are too old, you are past retirement. In the cybersecurity space, if you know what you're doing, look at it more like what you do in the medical field or the lawyers. There is no retirement age for a lawyer, right? Unless, of course, maybe you are in a government role and you want to. But really, in terms of practice, you can practice till you don't want to practice anymore, right? So really, there is no necessarily retirement age here. The age is not going to work against you. If you are willing to put in the work and time, you can transition at any age into the security space. Great. So let's look at the next one. You'll always be sitting in front of your computer. That is true to a certain point, but not necessarily all the time, right? So, and I'm going to break this down here shortly. Yes, some cyber, and I'm not sure if I was going to use Sheila as a really good example, but I'm not sure if Sheila is on here tonight. So in Sheila's role, she travels a lot, right? She's a cybersecurity professional, but she's always traveling because she's going to different sites, checking what the different, agencies she's, running, checks on what they are doing in terms of security and stuff like that. Right. So she's not always behind her computer. She's interacting with people more and traveling more than she's sitting behind her computer. And it depends on what your role is and what it entails. If you're a SOC analyst and you're like SOC tier one analyst, or whatever tier that you are, depending on which company, or you work in a security operations center, and then you are for the next 12 hours of your shift or every day, you are going to be behind a computer. So yes, to a certain point. But if you are working in mostly in the GRC space, cybersecurity analyst space, and you are going to have some face time with your computer but it's not necessarily you are going to be all the time sitting behind your computer, right? But there's a lot of screen time, because all your meetings, especially if you are working remotely, all your meetings and everything is either through Zoom or Teams or other, areas as well. Now, another myth is all high stress and burnout. So in the security space, you are going to be highly stressed out. You are going to be burning out. Now, yes and no. And this is why. If you really know what you are doing and you understand security and you are not what I call a working heart attack, you are not going to be burnt out, or you are not going to be highly stressed out. Yes, stress, some seasons, right? Let's say you have an audit coming up. There's going to be a lot of work and a lot of late nights. I get that piece. But when that is over, it comes down to your normal schedule. And sometimes some days you don't even do anything. Some weeks is almost empty, it's quiet, right? But if you don't know what you're doing, even for the empty weeks and the quiet weeks, you are still stressing out. You are still burned out. Like, every day is a stressful day for you. If you took some shortcut, you wiggled your way through and you got a job, now you are just stressing yourself for the whole entire run, right? So for those folks, every day is a stressful day. But if you know what you're doing, some days it can be intense, some seasons, but when those seasons are off, it's more flexible, right? We've had students, I think like a good example, Kwame. When Kwame began his cybersecurity job, he used to be a truck driver. Now, in his vicinity, they knew him. He had his truck, he brought his truck in the vicinity and stuff like that. And when he started working in the security space, now he could pick his kids up from school when they closed. And then days they didn't go to school, he will be at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon or 1 p.m. He'll be at the playground with his kids. And people were wondering, asking his wife, hey, did your husband get fired or is he not working? But he was working as a cybersecurity professional. Now he had more time on his hand. The example I'm trying to make is you have a good work-life balance, better than most of the jobs that you are going to be doing. Right? I know we've had some professionals who did the switch. They were working 80 hours a week, making like 60K, 65K. Now they are working 40 hours a week, making 120, 130, 140K. Right? And the 40 hours a week is not you are clocking in, clocking out. It's project based. You are working on this project. If there is nothing there, you just have to be proactive, start working on something else, right? And they have more time for their family. They are less stressed. So mostly if you compare this to other, career paths, you have a great work-life balance than most options that you have on there, right? But if you don't know what you are doing and you took some shortcuts, your foundation is weak, it is going to be a whole entire stressful journey the whole time, right? Now, you don't have to be a math wizard. You don't need to know math or be really good at it to be able to do anything we do in the cybersecurity space. So some, advanced areas in the cybersecurity space, not necessarily even in cybersecurity, but in IT, like cryptography, yes, you need some math in there, but really everything that you're going to do as a GRC analyst, specialist, even ethical hacking, you don't need math, right? Mostly what you are going to need here is critical thinking, problem solving, and analytical thinking, right? Which you don't necessarily need math to be able to do that, right? Now, do you need to know everything? Can you know everything in the cybersecurity space before you begin or before you even apply for a job? No, nobody knows it all. Cybersecurity has so many niches. You are never going to know it all. And two, as you are knowing, things are also changing, right? So you get that point. But the goal here is that you should have a very good foundation, right? So if you understand the different concepts, the different areas of cybersecurity and how they connect together to help us protect our data and our systems, that is all you need to begin. right? Everything else, that will be the foundation for which you can, specialize or pick a niche, right? But if that foundation is not there and you just want to go in for a niche, then you are going to run into problems and issues. But you are not going to know it all. So if you are still sitting on the fence, you've completed some course, mostly if you've done some theory, I will encourage you to get some practical hands-on, work on some real-world projects like our entry level, like our GRC internship, right? But if you've completed the GRC internship also and you are sitting on the fence waiting to have the perfect timing, you are not going to, even as you are revising what you did, still start applying. There's not going to be a perfect time. You are not going to know it all, right? Nobody knows it all. And the last one, I think, in this list that we are going to look at is, do I need to be a citizen? And I think for this, we kind of explained that already. You don't need to be a citizen. Is a requirement for some government roles, but not for all cybersecurity roles, right? So you don't need to be a citizen to be able to do this, right? Any questions on this so far before we jump into some of the facts? All right. So we looked at some of the myths. Let's look at facts, and then we'll jump into some of the mistakes you have to avoid. Right. So, fact is that in cybersecurity today, there is, I didn't check this before we started this program, but there is over 400 unfilled cybersecurity jobs out there. Right. And this is if you go to cybersec.org. Now, some people will say, yeah, but I've been applying for a job for 6 months. Why am I, if the jobs are there, why am I not getting? Well, to answer that, if the jobs are not there, what have you been applying to? The fact that they are not picking you doesn't mean they are not picking anyone. So you have to go back to your drawing board and see what you are doing wrong. So that does not, negate the fact that the jobs are there. If the jobs are not there, if you go online and you Google, there wouldn't be any job for you to apply to. So the jobs are there. There's a whole, you go to Google right now, there is a whole list of them, right? The fact that the jobs are there doesn't mean they're handing it out like candy. So you just apply, they pick you, you apply, they want the most qualified, because look at the role that you're going to play. You are helping them to protect their data and their systems, right? So if you want to pick a security guard, are you just going to pick anybody and anyone? You are interviewing this person and asking them, hey, have you lost anything valuable to your, like anything very valuable to you? They're like, yeah, I lost my wallet and my phone one time. What happened? Well, I just went to Burger King to eat and I forgot and I left it there. Are you going to employ this person to be your security, like to guard your house, your car, anything? No, he can't even take care of his own stuff. I want to hire him, right? So if you go to this interview and this is what they ask you and what you said, and you're coming back like, well, there are no jobs. You have to, relook at yourself. The jobs are there. So there are over 400 and something unfilled cybersecurity roles. Now, that is there, but you still have to prove yourself that you have what it takes and you can do the job, right? And forget about, oh, the market is saturated. That is what some people say. It's saturated. There are so many people out there. Yeah, and there are so many jobs. Anybody can pose to be a cybersecurity professional. During interviews, it comes down to one, knowing your interviewing skills. Two, knowing how to sell yourself. Three, and that is, the most important, what have you done? What projects have you done in relation to what they are looking for, right? Or what can you do in relation to what you're looking for? If you're able to do all these three, that's it. They're going to pick you over anybody else, right? So sometimes you can be the most technically proficient. You can do the job better than everybody in the lineup. But if you don't, sell yourself well, you don't know how to answer the questions and stuff like that. You are not even confident about the questions, the answers you are giving. Then, obviously they're going to pick somebody else, right? They're going to pick the other person who is so confident, but they don't know what they are doing, right? And you know what you're doing, but you're not even confident about your own skill sets, right? So the jobs are there. Now, strong salaries, because the demand for security professionals, the demand is high, but the supply is low. Then we did some cyber chats ago. Fact is, if you check the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it states that the average salary for information security professional in the United States is 116. Now they have similar data for Australia, for Europe, and other places. You can look it up. Right? And this is not me making it up. The Department or Bureau of Labor Statistics, they have the average salary for almost all professions in the United States. So if they say it's 116 and you go to a job and they want to offer you 50K and you take it, don't say, well, it's not true. It's you are the one who is selling yourself for less, right? Selling your services, and you don't value yourself, that you have what it takes to be a cybersecurity professional who has to earn that much, right? It's you. It's not the market, it's you. So you have to, look at fair market value and position yourself all in that space. So strong salaries. For starting salary, if you go to CyberSeek, you see most of the starting salaries for the entry roles, at least 110. You shouldn't take anything below 100K if you're starting off in the cybersecurity space. For senior roles, you can ask for 180, 200 plus, thereabout, yes, and even more, right? Now, diverse roles. There is a whole list of different roles and career paths in the cybersecurity space that you can pursue, right? So you never get bored. You can be doing risk analyst for a while and decide to switch to a different role and decide to switch. And then also in terms of career progression, there is a whole list of roles and also like progression roles that you can jump into, right? A whole list of senior roles, a whole list of managerial roles, and then you can go into senior managerial roles like CISO, CSO, and others, right? So there is a whole career path for you to be able to climb up all the way to the top, right? Sitting with the chief executive officers and CFOs and others, right? There is that path also for you to take as well, right? So, and unlike other IT fields, mostly your first two roles, that is it. You are stuck. You can't really go above that, right? And now another one, constant learning. This is also a fact. You have to be constantly learning in the security space. You cannot excel in the security space if you're somebody who just, I got a job, I'm going to go to sleep on myself. You have to be, because the cybersecurity landscape is always changing. That is why it's good to attend Cyber Chat, on regular basis, because you're always going to hear something new. There is always something going on, right? And technical expertise. So I think for the lady who was asking that she has auditing background and she wants to get into cybersecurity, can she also do auditing in there? Yes, but you need the technical know-how, right? You have to have a strong technical cybersecurity skills. And technical skills here, we are not talking about coding, right? We are talking about understanding the basic concepts and the foundation of cybersecurity. So, for example, you have to have a very good working knowledge of networking, know how a network functions, the different ports protocols, right? What makes a protocol secure? What makes a port unsecured? Or what can we do to make it secure? Understand all those concepts. The OSI model, moving into identity and access management, understanding the different concepts, the different access controls, what we do for the different factors of authentication, right? And stuff like that. So these are the foundational knowledge that you need, and the skills that you are going to need. So if you understand the foundation, if you have a very good foundation, then it's easy for you to add on whatever transferable skills you are bringing to the table to be able to function and still do almost the same thing you are doing in your previous role, right? So the technical expertise is needed. You need that to be able to function, right? So when most people, when they are like, well, I want to do GRC because it's not technical. Yes, if your technical here means coding, you're not going to be coding in GRC, or not necessarily on the blue side of security. But when we talk about technical skills, we are talking about technical, like concepts, theories that are not common to the average person who is not into cybersecurity. For example, if I ask you, what is the principle of least privilege? That is a technical question, right? It's a concept. You are not coding. But it's a concept if you're not in security, you wouldn't understand and you wouldn't know what it means or the implications of it, right? If I ask you what is mandatory access control, right? It's a technical question. It's a technical concept. If you don't understand it, now, I had a conversation with a lady, and she was of the view, well, I want to get into GRC, but I just want to work on policies because in my current job, I work on policies, So I want the non-technical part of cybersecurity of GRC. That way, I just work on policies. I'm like, okay, good idea. Now, let me ask you a question. So, when it comes to cybersecurity policies, right, there's a whole catalog of it. You have networking policy, cryptographic policy, identity and access management policy, or access control policies, security awareness training policy. Now, so if you don't want to be technical, you don't want to go through all this nonsense of I have to know networking and all this, all that is too technical. So how are you going to write a networking policy or review a networking policy of your company if you don't understand anything that is on there? Right. Cryptographic policy. You are looking at it and it's talking about they have to use asymmetric encryption to do A, B, C, and D, and you're looking at it like, yeah, okay, encryption. You don't even know what you're looking at. How are you going to do this role? You are just working on policies. That is, it's non-technical. That is all that you are doing. So hopefully everybody gets my point. How are you going to do your non-technical role if you don't understand what is going on? So there are concepts and theories that you are not going to be doing coding, but they are also technical. They are technical cybersecurity knowledge that you have to know, right? So problem solving, yes, a big one. Fact, cybersecurity professionals, they are excellent problem solvers. There is always we are in a ever evolving technological space. So the example that we saw, attackers and hackers, they are using technology to make their craft better and better. As security professionals, we also have to find a way to thwart their efforts. So you have to think, you have to be innovative, you have to be creative. So there is no one size fit all. What you are using last year to be able to, thwart the effort of attackers, this year, the same technique and the same trick is not going to work, right? Because they're also getting smarter, they are using more technology, AI. So we have to be problem solvers. And going back to what we're talking about here, that you are not going to know everything, right? I think that was previously, you are not going to know everything. That was in the myth. Yes, because in the field, there are going to be problems and issues that nobody has encountered before. Now, what that is going to do to everybody is that everybody will have to go back to the drawing board, go back to your books, your notes, and come up with a strategy, right? Or go research and come up with a way of how that problem is going to be solved, right? So that goes into the problem solving piece. So you have to be somebody who loves to do research. You have to dig into finding stuff, right? So, and for example, in our entry level, most of those things will be thrown at you, right? You have to research and dig into more stuff. Also, in the internship, most people think they come in and we are just going to spoon feed them. This is exactly how you do this. No, we give you the limits and we show you how it's done, but you have to do it in your own way, right? And sometimes they come up, they blow our minds. We are like, wow, the approach, you guys are using is, and sometimes like they think we are just saying them to make them feel good, but really we are in the field, we know what is going on. And for you starting off as newbies in the industry and coming up with those bright ideas and ways of doing stuff, that is very impressive, right? And it shows how much, if you give people limits without boxing them in, they are able to come up with things, and products that are going to blow your mind, right? So problem solving, key, very key. Now, communication skills, it has to be excellent. If you want to rise up all the way up to CISO, CSO, the higher you want to rise up, the better your communication has to be, right? And communication goes into your interpersonal skills, team playing skills, being able to work together in a team, being able to lead a team, right? So most cybersecurity roles, you are going to be communicating with stakeholders, with team members, non-technical team members, technical team members. So you have to know your audience and how to present whatever you're presenting to them, right? That is why in our internship and workshop program, there's a lot of presentations, and people think, why are we always presenting every week? But when you get on the job, you have a better appreciation of what we're doing. Everything that we're doing there is structured and there's a science behind it, right? Because some of the things that you might take for granted and you think is not even important, is not security, is not, cybersecurity. And those are the things that might probably, bite you in your behind on the job, right? Example, using Word, Excel, PowerPoint. But that is not a cybersecurity tool. Oh, you think that is one of the most used tools in cybersecurity, right? Now, the next one, job security. So, in most organizations, if they have to lay off people, and in IT, I think for the past year and a half, there have been some shakeups in, different IT groups in different companies, but mostly it's hard to just let cybersecurity folks go. Unless, of course, maybe they have 10 of you and they need 3, right? But even that, mostly they are not going to pile up more cybersecurity professionals than they need. So, your job security is higher than, most other IT roles. Right? And impactful work. So what you are doing is very meaningful, is really helping protect systems, and you don't know how many lives and families you are saving through what you are doing for your company. You might think I'm just doing my third-party risk analyst role, and how does that affect anybody else? It does affect. If we show you the bigger picture, it is going to go a long way to affect people. So let's say, for example, you are a cybersecurity professional in a hospital. If the hospital gets breached and all their systems are down, how can they do surgeries? How can they treat patients? And people might even die through that, right? So the little that you are doing as a security professional there, you are saving lives, right? So don't take what you are doing in the security space for granted. You are doing a big service to God and country, right? Now, potential growth, like I said, there's a lot of growth, a lot of room for growth and improvement in the cybersecurity space, right? There's no one path, one career path. If you hit all these roles, that is it, right? And Eric can attest to this. In the networking side, one path. If you hit the most senior, that's it. There is nothing beyond that. But in the security space, you can go all the way up to chief information security officer, chief security officer, right? And even some companies will have CIO, right? So you can hold any of those roles, CIO, CTO. You can move past CISO and the rest and go all the way up there, right? So it depends on how far you want to go and how much you are willing to put in to grow as a professional, right? Now, with that, we are going to be jumping into the 10 mistakes or the 10 mistakes to avoid when you are transitioning into the cybersecurity space, right? And with that, we encourage you to join us tomorrow morning. We are doing our graduation ceremony for our internship cohort that is graduating tomorrow. That is a January cohort. We encourage you to join us to celebrate them. It's a lot of hard work, and they've really gained a lot and they've learned a lot. They are better security professionals than when they joined the program. And our Memorial Day sales ends tomorrow, midnight. And for AI governance is the GRC of AI, right? So how we manage AI in terms of governance, risks, and compliance. That is what this program covers. It comes with internship and everything else. And then also our cloud security, very much hands-on. You are going to be working in the cloud, AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. Is vendor neutral. So we touch on all these areas, all these cloud service providers, and you are going to be working on a lot of projects, right? So it's not just theory, but you are going to be working on a lot of projects as well. So when you're done and you say you're a cloud security professional, yes, you're a cloud security professional, right? And for folks who are looking to begin from scratch, we encourage you to join our cybersecurity and fieldable course. This program is 4 months. First 2 months, you are going through the foundation, basics and fundamentals, all the way to intermediate level knowledge and skill. And then the next 2 months, you'll be joining the internship, working on different cybersecurity projects, right? So knowing is where you start, but after knowing, you have to do. If you know and you don't do anything in the cybersecurity space, you are of no use, because companies are looking to employ people who can do things for them, who can work on different projects, risk assessment, conduct an audit, incident response, not people who can recite or can memorize content and deliver them. On the job, there's not going to be multiple choice for you to choose from. You actually have to do, right? So if you've had some training from elsewhere and all you can do is to pass certifications, then this is the time for you to join this program or the internship to be able to do and work on some projects. Now, our payment security course also for IT professionals and folks already in the cybersecurity field, this is a good area of specialty. It cuts across industries, it cuts across international borders. And to be a PCI professional, you can do a lot around the world. Anywhere that you find yourself, you will be able to work efficiently, right? And for our next internship cohort is starting in July. Exact date is yet to be put out. But join this program if you want to really get your hands dirty working on different cybersecurity projects, right? And also working in a team, building your soft skills. This program gives you all that in one. So if you've had previous training elsewhere and you are liking that hands-on real-world experience, we encourage you to join this. Now let's jump into our list, top 10 mistakes to avoid when switching to cybersecurity, most of which we kind of maybe touched a few of them here and there. But before we continue, I'll ask everybody if you have maybe one or two things that you think from your experience people can avoid when they want to break into the cybersecurity space, you can raise your virtual hand and let us know. Right. And then maybe that is also in our top 10 list. So what are some of the things that you think, people should look out for to be able to avoid? And now most of the folks who are on the job working, you can give us some really good insights. So in the likes of Bobby, Frank, and Michael, and others that I can easily see. I think let me go through the list here. You can give some from your personal journey, right? What are some of the things that you experience? And even if you are on the edge of getting your first role, what you know so far, what do you think are some of the things that maybe if you knew earlier, it would have saved you a lot of headache, or right? Anyone want to give it a shot? I know for Bobby, I'll pick on Bobby. I'll pick on. I think I saw Michael also. I saw Frank. I'll pick on you three because for you three, I know for a fact, and you are the only ones that I can easily see. Right? There's almost 105, 100 and it was 110 folks on here, but now 105, 106. So there's a lot. I can only pick on these three that I can easily see. So Bobby, what do you have? What are some of the things that you think anybody should avoid if they are jumping into the security space? And Michael, if you're also ready, anyone who is ready can take the stage. And if you're outside this group and you also have maybe one or two things that you think, okay, I think this is also something that you should look out for. Oh, I think Frank was off. He's joining back in. Any inputs? Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Doctor.
Okay.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so avoid. Okay, I think Matthew has something in there. Avoidance soft skills. Yes. mistake is focusing only on the technical. Good one, right? And this is in our list. Matthew put in the chat, focusing on only on technical skills and knowledge. A very good one, right? And avoiding the fundamentals. Also, Abraham, a very good one. I think Abraham and Matthew has been attending Cyber Chat a lot. Oh, okay. So Michael said he's unable to speak. Oh, that's fine, Michael. And anybody, you can also put yours in the chat. Anyone, if you have something that you also want to put in there, you can put in the chat. So there's a lot, and everything that I think Abraham and Matthew put in there, right on the money, right? So the reason why we went through the myths and the facts is to help us go through this, right, and understand it even better. So some of the things not to do, or these are the don'ts if you want to break into the cybersecurity space. Don't skip the basics. Right. Now, look at it this way. Getting into cybersecurity, if you don't have an IT background, even if you do, you don't have it's a new language that you're going to learn, right? So it's like you want to learn Chinese, but you want to skip the alphabet. You want to skip learning the alphabets and the different sounds that they have in Chinese. How well do you think you are going to speak Chinese? Right. Now, your friend or whoever they can start teaching you phrases in Chinese, right? And everybody on here, you're all smart. You can pick up on those and use that to get a Chinese job. Now, but on the job, how far do you think those phrases that you know, those catchy phrases that you're throwing around and you're like, yeah, I think he's good or she's good, she can. Now, on the job, you actually have to speak well, you have to write, that is where the heart attack will start, right? So don't skip the basics. And what are the basics? So a very good example, if right now somebody says, hey, you want to jump into cybersecurity, come, I'll teach you RMF, you are skipping the basics. Come, I'll teach you third party, you are skipping the basics. Unless, of course, they take you through cybersecurity actual. So they take you through networking, cryptography, identity and access management. They take you through all the areas of cybersecurity for you to have a better appreciation of it and know how they are all related to each other and how they work together. And then they can teach you RMF or third party or PCI or whatever. But if they are like, hey, you just have to know RMF and that's it. You should be able to. Really, RMF is written in what language? Cybersecurity language. Now there you are, you don't know the basics of cybersecurity. You don't know the alphabets of cybersecurity or even phrases or words. You just know some key and catchy phrases that is in RMF. Now, once you are done with that, if you think that will be able to get you on the government side, most jobs are pretty laid back and easy. So you can also, wing it and bulldoze your way through and get some government role. But that is about it that you can do in the cybersecurity field. Right. That is it. Your career progression ended right there. Because if you leave that side and you want to go on the mainstream cybersecurity side, there's nothing that you can really do. Right. Even just from taking a course like maybe RMF or just third party, or try to sit for Security Plus, or try to just do questions for Security Plus. You see how the questions are going to be slapping you left and right. Right. So don't skip the basics. And most people don't want to hear this because they think, yeah, I just want to pick one. Somebody will reach out and say, how quick can I get, do you have a crash course for like 2 months or for 1 month? Well, my question will be, if you also have a crash course to learn how to speak French in 2 months or in 1 month, and I can speak really well and pick a French job and get paid 150, 120, then I'll have something like that for you. Right. It's a language that you are learning. So don't skip the basics. Your goal shouldn't be how quick can I jump and get a job. It should be how fast can I learn the basics, the foundation, build a very good foundation, right? And that will also depend on what effort and time you want to put in. Yes, there's a lot of good money in security. Yes, job, family job balance is good, but don't be, if you're in a hurry to get in there without knowing your stuff, having a strong foundation, they are also going to be in a hurry to fire you. And before they fire you, you're probably going to come home with high blood pressure. That I can tell you for a fact. Right. So, and there are a lot of people who've been in that situation, and they can attest to this. Maybe probably not in cybersecurity, but in other fields where you are just jumping and bulldozing your way through. Yes, you got there. Maybe you were lucky, or you could talk, you had that personality, so they picked you. But really, on the job, you cannot Google everything, you cannot YouTube everything. It is sometimes it's going to come down to what you know. If you're on a like in a meeting in the boardroom setting, you are there, they are discussing, asking you something, and is that the time for you to tell them, okay, wait, let me go and research and look up this, right? Maybe they right and there, they need your expertise. Say, what do you think about this? Uh, right? Or you have an audit meeting. The auditors are there, maybe PCI audit, and they are there talking, maybe the QSAs are talking nonsense. But because you don't know, or even if you think they are talking nonsense, you are not so sure of your basics and fundamentals, so you don't want to say anything to make it look like you are you don't know what you're talking about, right? So don't skip the basics. That is what is going to set you apart from everybody else who is trying to take the shortcuts to get into the industry, right? So jumping straight into, okay, I want to go learn ethical hacking. I want to specialize in RMF, PCI. All that will sound exciting, but really, without a solid foundation, you wouldn't be able to function well as a PCI professional or RMF anything or anything for that matter, right? You need to know the basics, build a very strong foundation. You don't underestimate your fundamentals because everything that you are doing is built on the fundamentals. PCI is built on the fundamentals, RMF is built on the fundamentals. I mean, for the most part, if you know your fundamentals well, for some frameworks, when you pick them, you can read them and understand yourself and apply. You can be able to, at least you have a good idea of how to implement them, right? So that is what I would say about the not skipping the basics. So there's an example here. Think about how you fix an engine. This just goes to speak about the basics, right? You cannot fix a car's engine if when you went to your mechanical training you skipped the basics, right? So with that, we will jump into the second one. And the second one, the next don't chase every certification. So we talked about not being a certification chaser. So the more certifications you are piling up, the more is expected of you, right? So and one funny story, we had a student who was going through the entry level. She started, probably she was like 20% complete, and she just dropped off. They didn't hear from her any for the next 2-3 months. Next time she reached out, she said she was preparing her resume and she needed help. And we're like, but you've not completed the course. You didn't even go through internship. Well, on her resume, she had, and this is true story, right? On her resume that she sent to us for help to look at it and assess it. On her certifications, she had, I think CISSP, Security Plus. No, she had CISA, Security Plus, Security Analyst. And we were like, are you sure you have these certifications? She's like, yeah. And next week I'm going to get CISA. No, next week she was going to get CISSP. Like, what? Next week? Oh, okay, we get it. We know how you're getting these certifications. She's paying people to take these certifications for her. Right? It's like you are paying somebody to take pilot exams for you. So write the exam, fly the plane, get the pilot license, and they give it. What are you going to use that for? To fly, little kites at home with your kids? Or to actually fly a plane that you yourself are going to be in, and you don't know how to fly? You might as well just sit home and commit suicide or something. Because you are not just going to kill yourself by flying because you didn't go to the flight school, you didn't learn how to fly. Somebody did all that for you and they put your name on there, got you the certification. So it will be better, right? Since you're on a suicide mission, not to kill other people in your suicide, just stay home somewhere and just, do what you are going to do to yourself. It's the same thing that you are doing on the job, if that is the path you are taking. Having people write certifications for you. For people who are doing that, I don't know what they are smoking. They are smoking something, but I don't know what. Because the example that I just gave you, right? Somebody is going to take the pilot exam and also do the actual flying test for you and give you the license. What are you going to do with it? Right? Supposed to be a pilot, and then when there's only two of you flying, you are just going to sit in there, pretend you know how to fly, and somebody else is going to fly you the whole time. It's not going to work that way, right? So, meaning if you have the certification, you should have what it takes, it takes to back it. And mostly, like I always say, you are the certification, not the piece of paper you are holding, right? So don't be chasing certifications. And when people get too much into this, is why they pay people to take the certifications for them, which is, and we spoke about this extensively. It's not the certification that is going to get you the job. It's what you know and what you can do, right? So, and even if, everybody here is very smart, you can pass some of these certifications if you are just given the test questions to practice with. Don't get in that habit. Oh, I just passed Security Plus. I just passed, and I ran into a lot of them. I have CISA, I have CISSP. My Security Plus is coming up for renewal. It means they've had it for 3 years. And you ask them, so where have you been working in security? Well, I've not been working in security. I just have them. What are you using them for? Like decoration in your living room? Right. And it's all because of how they got it. And they were thinking ill advice from people. They were thinking if you have it, then you will be able to, get a job as soon as it doesn't work that way. Right. And most of the times people don't want to hear the truth. But that is the sad truth. Because there are people who get jobs for 150, 100, they don't have any certification. I'm not saying you shouldn't get a certification, but I'm saying employers are looking for what you can do and what you've done, not the certification, right? And with the certification, except certifications like OSCP or other certifications, you don't do anything. It's just multiple choice, you choose your answers, right? So if you are really good at multiple choice, you can, and you just half know the content, you'll be able to pass it, right? But on the job, there's no multiple choice questions and answers for you to choose from. You're actually going to be doing. So enough about that one. Now let's jump into don't ignore soft skills. I think it was Matthew or Abraham who brought this up. So also, I have a lot of stories, there was a student who went to an interview, and during the interview, he was relaxed, waiting for the cybersecurity questions to come in, technical cybersecurity questions for him to show them what he's got. And that wasn't his first interview, though. That was, I think, his third, or that was his second interview or third interview with a different company, right? He had gone to, first and second rounds for some companies. They didn't make it to the final round. He went to one final round. They didn't make it. And then for this one, it was, I think, his third company that he was interviewing with. Now, he went to the interview, and the lady, it was a casual conversation. So where do you live? Why did you, move to Texas? And they were just, how many kids do you have? Where do they school? And stuff like that. And then for like 20, 30 minutes. So when she was done, she was like, okay, fine, okay, good, good, good. Thank you, Derek. You are going to hear from us. And then he was shocked. Like, we didn't do the interview today. She just wanted to get to know me. And then he received an email. Hey, sorry, we are moving on with somebody else. And he was furious. Like, they didn't even ask me any cybersecurity questions. Why? So he came, I think it was a cyber chat like this. Mostly we used to talk offline. He brought it up, Dr. Edu, he was asking me all these questions, and then she said she's moving on. She didn't even ask me any. I'm like, okay, so walk us through the questions. And as he was going through, I'm like, okay, and the answers you gave, like that was your interview. It was a soft skills interview, but you let your guard down, right? Thinking it was just a casual conversation. You are not their friend. So they didn't, they are not going to have the 30 minutes of casual conversation with you whilst they can be working on doing something productive for the day. So it's an interview, whether they are asking you technical questions or just want to know about your pet and what you've done so far in life. Don't lose your guard. It's a soft skills interview. So if they're asking you, why did you move to Texas? If you genuinely move because John moved and John is your best friend, you don't give that answer anyway. Because how does that
Yes,
sound?
doctor.
I moved because John moved. What? And you want to work for us? No. Doing cybersecurity? No, thank you. No,
And
you have to.
doctor,
Yes, go ahead, Bobby.
yeah, I mean, talking about the soft skills, I just want to come in because I mean, my job as an ISO is, I mean, one of the qualities that you have to have it. So I deal with a lot of non-technical people, different stakeholders, and every day I have like 3 or 4 meetings with them. So imagine if you don't have the communication skills. I mean, how are you going to do that? And that is not something that actually came up during my interview for the job. I mean, I know some soft skills questions were asked, but my day to day is all about soft skills. I schedule meeting, I communicate to these people who are non-technical. You have to break things down. They will ask some stupid, silly questions, but you need to know how to talk to them. And we are always working in a team. So cybersecurity is all about teamwork. So one of the things that everyone should work on should be like good communication skills. And I mean, with that, you can learn. I mean, like you always say, the technical part of the job is something that we are all picking it on the job. So many things that I've learned since I got this job, which I didn't know when I got a job. But I mean, they will teach you. They will teach you when it comes to tools and all of that. You eventually have the hands-on and everything, but nobody's going to teach you how to communicate with other stakeholders, right? They will tell you, hey, that is what we want to do, and they will schedule the meeting. So it's up to you how you break things down for them to understand you. So soft skills is a big part of this whole journey. And if you don't know how to communicate, I think you should start doing that. And most people tend to ignore that because they think it's easy. Like it is not. You need to polish your communication skills. So yeah, that would be my take on that.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. And so for soft skills, like Bobby is saying, we can teach you to be technically proficient within the shortest possible time. But if you can't show up, on time to save your life, I can't really help you with that even in a year. Or if you just don't like to talk to people, I can't help you on that. If you can't communicate, right? If you don't have patience, attention to detail, right? Those you will be bringing from other places in your professional life. And that is why in the internship and workshop that we offer, you could have, or we can have you do the projects individually, but we having you do it in a group. That way you are bumping heads. So all that, somebody will reach out and be like, hey, Dr. Edu, I really don't like my team. I want to jump into another team. Okay, so what if you are being paid 150K and that person you don't like is your boss? Are you going to quit the job? Or you are going to find ways and means of dealing with them and getting about your day and getting work done? And they are like, oh, okay. But I mean, yes, right. If you put it that way, then yeah. That is why we put you together in a team, right? So you know how to deal with everybody. So if you get on the job or even during interviews, if they're asking you, hey, give us an example where you're working with somebody who was very difficult, how did you get around it? You have a very good example from the internship, right? Maybe you are blessed where you work, everybody is nice, you get along, okay, right? But here, we are all grown adults from different backgrounds, different levels of understanding, different perception and perspective about things, different levels of technical proficiencies when it comes to cybersecurity, right? So if we have to come together to work on a project, it's not going to be smooth. But at least as we work on one or two or three, you get to, find ways of working with everybody, right? So this is something that we teach in the internship, but we don't teach it explicitly. So it's implicit, right? So as you are doing and working on projects, you're also polishing up your soft skills as you move along. Because if I ask folks who've been in the internship and workshop, who were you working with somebody who was very difficult? Everybody has a story. Oh yeah, that one girl, that one guy. But at the end of the day, once they are done with the program, come tomorrow and join our graduation. You see the good stuff they are saying about themselves, and it shows that they've actually grown right from the time they started, and that shows you how they go through the team development life cycle, right? So the formation stage, they move to the storming stage, the norming stage, and by the time they get to performance, that is when we are almost about to wrap up, right? So that is something that we are also teaching you, without you even knowing that you're acquiring all these skills alongside the technical side, right? So soft skills, you cannot ignore soft skills. For interviews that you're going to do for cybersecurity, mostly you're going to do 3 interviews, right? The first one might be with the hiring manager or the recruiter, just to see, where you are and what you are about, if you're a good fit for the role. The next one can be technical or soft skills. And then mostly they'll have another one that is going to be a combination of soft skills, a little bit of soft skills, a little bit of technical skills. But this is guaranteed. There is always going to be a soft skills interview. Sometimes with more than one person, right? Some will be looking at your organizational cultural fit. Some will be looking at your interpersonal, different aspects of soft skills, right? So don't underestimate that. And if you don't prepare for soft skills questions, that is going to get you. Mostly for students who go to interviews and wouldn't make it, it's not the technical skills, it's the soft skills. And it's not because they don't have it, but they couldn't package it well. So practice, that is why we do one-on-one interview prep. So that way we brought that to your attention. We ask you some of those questions. We show you how to answer it well, right? Because mostly if you don't make it, it's not going to be your technical, it's going to be your soft skills, right? Don't assume everything is about hacking. It is not. And I think we spoke about that extensively. There are 2 sides, the red team, the blue team. On the blue side, you are not doing any hacking. Everything is either GRC, incident response, right? There are so many things for you to do on that side without doing anything hacking. Right? So cybersecurity is not all about hacking. Now, don't miss hands-on practice. So in cybersecurity, we have what we call KSA, knowledge, skills, and abilities, right? Everything starts with knowledge. You cannot do what you don't know, right? So people who are in a hurry just to, doctor, I think some people will talk to you and they will swear heaven and earth. They are good on the basics and the fundamentals. They just want to do work on projects. Ask them one cybersecurity kindergarten question. That is just knowledge. And they are running around in circles. Unless you know they are talking about, because I don't have working experience. No, you don't. What I'm asking you is knowledge. It's not working experience. If I ask you what are the factors of authentication, do you have to work? You can work in cybersecurity for 5 years and not know. This is knowledge. It's not, you don't have to work to know. You see what I mean? So knowing, but also if you know the theory and the concepts and you've never done anything, that is an issue, right? Because on the job, you're not going to write an essay. You're not going to write a paper. There's not going to be multiple choice for you to choose from. You're actually going to do. So if you know when you've not done anything, it's hard for you to really do anything on the job, right? So if you know all about risk management, risk assessment, risk registers, and I ask you, how do you conduct risk assessment? I'm not asking for the definition of risks or vulnerabilities and threats. Yes, all that is good. How do you conduct risk assessment? If you've never done it, now you start you are going to start talking crazy. You do this, you are trying to just feel talk. That is just going to be talking for talking sake, right? If you've done it, you're not just talking for talking sake, but okay, first I have to choose whatever framework. So if the company doesn't have any framework that they use for risk assessment, this is the framework I'm going to, adopt. And these are the reasons why I'm picking this risk framework, right? So maybe ISO 20105 or CIS RAM. And that is what I'm going to pick. And you have to be able to defend why you're picking that. And then 2, you jump into, so with that, now maybe you look at your assets, but everything that you're doing is guided by the framework. right? And the risk register you are going to adopt. Also, if the company have their own, or if they don't, you are going to borrow run from, right? That if you are able to go through like this, there is nobody on the panel who will say you don't. And you have to do it to be able to say it like how I'm saying it, right? If all you know is just the book knowledge, then it's only going to remain a book knowledge, right? So you have to know before you can do. But if you know and you don't do, then your knowing is really is not really going to do much for you on the job, right? Sometimes you'll be lucky you go to interviews and whoever was interviewing you, they don't really know much, so you can, bulldoze your way through and get the job. But eventually, the job is going to spit you out, and eventually, somebody who knows their stuff is going to come along, and they're going to find you out. And you don't want that, right? So, hands-on work on some projects. I cannot stress on that enough. Working on projects in the security space is not just you doing scans with Nexus or doing hack the box or those are, you're practicing with tools. Sometimes people confuse working on projects with working with tools. Yes, you can work on a project with a tool, but just doing vulnerability scans or using Kali Linux to do port scans, that is not, you are not working on a project on the job, unless of course you are going to be doing vulnerability scans, which mostly is not going to be you doing it. If you are going to be the ones doing it, then fine. But even with that, once the vulnerability scan is done, how do you triage the vulnerabilities that were identified? How do you come up with a remediation strategy to put in a strategy for remediating all these vulnerabilities that were found? Even with the vulnerabilities that were found, if you have 3 or 4 highs, okay, this is a high, this is a high, that is a high, with the same CVSS score, which one are you going to tackle first, right? So you see how doing the project and understanding what you're doing, the tool will help you to a point, but after that, the tool is not going to help you past that point, right? So if you've actually worked on projects, you know the extent to which a tool can help you to get to. Now, the remainder of that has to be you. Right. So if I say work on projects, yes, you can learn how to use a tool, 1 or 2, but working on the projects actually is what I'm talking about. Conducting an audit, practicing, conducting third-party risk assessment, conducting risk assessment actual, using different risk registers, right? Setting a baseline, right? Those things that you cannot necessarily use a tool to do. And that is what we do on the job, reviewing policies, right? So if all you are doing is just doing some scans here and there, and mostly people is lack of information. Oh yeah, I've done some projects. What did you do? Oh, I can use Nexus. I didn't ask you if you know how to use a tool. What project have you done? Because if I ask you, how do you conduct risk assessments? You're not going to come back and tell me, well, I use XenGRC. Okay, and then do what? Well, XenGRC will do the risk assessment for me. That's it. Nobody's going to give you a job that way, right? You don't know. So if there is no XenGRC, how are you going to conduct the risk assessment? You see what I mean? So hopefully you gain something from this. Now, don't overlook your past experience. Very good one. I don't remember the lady who asked this question, but she was asking, she's an auditor from the financial side. Can she bring that into cybersecurity? And the answer is a big yes. And this is what we are talking about. Don't overlook your past experience. Some people think, oh, I'm a
Yes,
nurse.
it's me.
Yes. So I'm a nurse. All my nursing experience for the past 10 years has to go to waste because I'm switching to cybersecurity. It's not true. And it's not true by any means, right? Your past experience counts just like anybody who was also in IT, it counts. And there's an example. So if you're a teacher, in cybersecurity, we do awareness training. It's a whole field on its own. Cybersecurity awareness training. The principles of teaching. If you're a good teacher, you know how to teach, break things down for people to understand. You can easily apply that in cybersecurity, right? Now, yes, you have to know the technical side of cybersecurity. Got it. But your skills in teaching, that is not going to go away. So if you're applying to, you want to be a cybersecurity awareness instructor, a cybersecurity awareness training instructor, or a cybersecurity awareness manager, on your resume, your teaching skills and your teaching experience will also have to be there, right? To show that you have the relevant years of skills to be able to do this job. And that is where most people get it confused. But, I've been a nurse for 10 years. I'm switching into cybersecurity. What do I put on my resume as my years of experience? I mean, I've not worked in cybersecurity. You don't have to work in cybersecurity to have transferable skills, right? And when we're talking about years of experience, if right now you are going for cybersecurity awareness training instructor role, and you've been teaching, let's say, biology for the past 20 years, right? But now you've also schooled yourself. You are, let's say, you have a very good working knowledge in cybersecurity. Would you say you have zero teaching experience applying for this cybersecurity awareness training instructor role because you've never taught in cybersecurity? I mean, I don't know what you'll be smoking if you say no, because it's not true. You have teaching experience, and what they are looking for in this role, you can be the most technical cybersecurity person. If you don't have any teaching experience, they're not going to pick you. They'll pick somebody who's been teaching biology for 20 years and can demonstrate that they understand cybersecurity. And they can, I mean, once we know they understand cybersecurity, that is it. The teaching part, they have that covered. But you can be the most technical person, but you can't teach to save your life. Right. So being very technical doesn't mean you can teach somebody to also understand what is going on. Right. So now I think that explains it and that breaks it down. Now, let's say you're a nurse. For nurses, attention to detail. And for nurses is even, a very good example, because all nurses, they are all HIPAA compliance officers. So part of what you do, there's a technical twist to it when it comes to cybersecurity, because you are enforcing HIPAA the whole entire time, right? So, and other things like attention to detail, being able to break down complex medical terms to loved ones of your patients, and even to your patients, breaking it down for them to understand what is going on. All that is a skill that is needed in the security side. Accountants skills are also needed in the security side, right? So there is something for everybody. So do not discard your past experience. And when you're talking about your experience in the cybersecurity field, you don't have to lie and say, I have 10 years. It's a total experience, your soft skills and hard skills, your technical cybersecurity skills, and your soft skills that you're bringing from elsewhere, right? So if you're a manager in Walmart for 20 years and you're applying for a cybersecurity managerial role, yes, you have to know your technical cybersecurity stuff. If you know that and you're applying for a managerial role, do you think you have the experience? You can safely say, okay, I think I will gauge myself at 5 years, a combination of my technical and my soft skills coming into, yes, you will not be off. And anybody who is looking at that role, they are looking for somebody with experience in management more than technical skills, right? So hopefully that is clear for everyone. Now, don't forget to network. That is why we are here tonight, right? So if this is your first time of joining Cyber Chat, do join on a regular basis. You get to hear some names: Michael, Bobby, this person, that person. And we have a platform so you can, hey, Dr. Edu was speaking about Michael. He's doing GRC analysis, a GRC manager. Can I get his number? Can I get his contact? Hey, Michael, I'm doing this. What is your take? That is how we network, right? And we are lucky enough to be here. We've built a platform for you. The hardest job for you to do is to network, right? So we encourage you to join the WhatsApp group if you're not on there already. And then also when you come on here, you can link up in the chat. You can link up, put your details in there. People can reach out to you, and that is how you network. So networking will get you in a lot of places and also help you within the industry, right? You don't have to do this alone, right? So this is everything that we are doing is community driven. So join us on Cyber Chat every Friday night, on LinkedIn, other places. You can also connect as well, right? Nia, please go ahead.
Yes, sorry to take you back. I just wanted to make reference to when you are talking about soft skills and work experience generally, and most of the vacancies that we see out there, even entry level, they will tell you that you need maybe 2 years experience on that particular role. So how do we handle that? If you have 10 years experience, 20 years experience somewhere else, but they're saying they want 2 years experience on that particular role. How do we handle that?
Okay, so good question. Now, like you rightly said, for the job descriptions that you see, right, put some weight to it, but don't put too much weight into it. Sometimes it's even funny, right? Because, and the reason why I'm saying that is sometimes they'll have, this is an entry level role, and in the experience they need 5 years of experience. It's like whoever created the job description, they didn't even read it when they were done, right? Entry level role is supposed to be 0 to at least a year or a year and a half, 2 years, maybe, right? So it's 0 to 2 years. So if you have 0 experience, you've never worked in your life, that is fine. You still qualify for it. Now, when it comes to years of experience, we are looking at your soft skills and your technical skills, a combination of both, right? So reason why if you're applying for a managerial role and you have 10 years of experience as a manager elsewhere, you wouldn't say 10 years of experience here is because it's not just the soft skills. We are looking at a combination. So looking at whatever type of training you've gone through on the security side, whatever hands-on experience that you have working on projects, that will help you to kind of merge the two and combine it, right? So for if you are a student, you went through entry level, you went through internship, mostly, and you're applying for a role like that, you have 10 years of experience, we will have you gauge it around 5 to a maximum 6, right? We will take about half of your managerial role, and then we kind of mix it with, because based on the projects that you worked on and how we are able to gauge you in terms of your technical skills, we can safely place you within that range, and you will be fine. Because we know in the industry, when they say 5 years of experience, 3 years of experience, we know what they are looking for in terms of technical abilities, right? So that is how, and we do that on individual basis with our students, right, and our interns. So, okay, for you, we'll gauge you at this round. For you, it's going to be around that, right? So, but if you are coming from elsewhere, I mean, wherever you have your training, or mostly where you get most confusion is if you are doing self-study, you have no reference point and nobody to talk to or to guide you, right? But this is why we do these sessions, and they are free, right? So hopefully that helps. Now, don't wait I think last 3 and then we wrap up. So don't wait to be perfect to start. You are never going to be 100%. So don't feel like, I think, I've done this certification, I've worked on some projects, I did the internship, I'm done, but I have to revisit my notes and make sure. You are never going to be fully ready 100%, right? So jump in. What is, like I always say, what is the worst that they will do to you if you go to an interview? Is anybody going to slap you through the phone? Of course not. All they can say is no. Right. So no, we are moving on with somebody. Okay, fine. I'm going to go to this next other company and see what they're going to say. So, and as you are interviewing, you are also learning, right? You are building your confidence. Because sometimes you have everything that it takes, but your confidence is just low. So if you go to the interview and you hear what they are asking and stuff, when you come back, okay, I think I messed up on these questions because I was a bit nervous. I can answer it. I can do this. So you take notes, you get better and better with, different interviews that you are going to, right? So don't wait to be 100% and don't ignore the job description. I can't stress on this enough. Now, people go into interviews, and at the beginning of interview, when they ask you, hey, what do you know about our company? So I think your company sells shoes or burgers, or you're a salon, right? If I came to your interview and you're asking me what your company does, and I think you sell shoes or you sell cars or a combination of both, like, if I'm the most technical person, will you still pick me? Of course not. I can do the job with my eyes closed. I'm better than everybody, but you're still not going to pick me. You know why? Because one, I don't pay attention to detail. And second, I don't care about your company, right? I just want the money. But the first one is what is going to make or break you. You don't pay attention to detail because in the job description, every job description has what the company does in there. It's the first thing. Oh, this is Eretmis Inc. Eretmis Inc. We are a PCI, or we are a cybersecurity company. We specialize in PCI DSS audits, blah, blah, blah. We do this, we do that, we do that. Before we get into the role, in this role, this is what you are going to be doing, right? So if you looked at the job description and you just went straight to the role and what you are going to be doing, you ignored, and during the interview, we ask you that one of the key soft skills that they are looking for is somebody who pays attention to detail. So if you miss that little detail and you can't even tell us what we do in the company, then what are you going to defend? Right? It's like you have like three, you are a prince, you are a princess, you have like 5 or 7 people who want to marry you, and you are interviewing them to pick one of them, right? And this is what most people don't get. The interviews you are going to look at it more like a marriage. And you're asking John, hey, John, why do you want to marry me? What is my name? What do I do? Well, I know you're a princess, and I think you are called Capricia or Beatrice, or I mean, you are just off the list. Just, but people don't see it like that. You are off the list at that point. They are not even going to consider you if you are the most handsome or you are the most whatever. So look at it more that way. Don't ignore the job description. Pay attention to the job description. One, to see if it is a good fit for you, right? It's not because you want to get into the industry, you're applying to any and every cybersecurity job. No, you have to be selective and see the ones that you can do what applies to you, right? And if it's going to be a good fit for you, that is what I'm driving at, right? So don't ignore it and this also goes to people who are just using one resume to apply for 100 jobs, for like all kinds of jobs. He's using that one resume to apply for a third-party job, for a SOC analyst job, for a GRC specialist job, and those are the people who be complaining that, well, they said there are jobs in the industry, but I'm applying and I don't think this is going to work. There is some secret or trick and nobody's is showing me, or this doesn't work, because you are doing it wrong, right? It's like you are sending your pilot resume to go get a nursing job. Yes, you finished nursing school. Yes, you can do everything, but is the resume that you are sending what they are looking for? I mean, the skills on there, is that what they are looking for? So don't be using one resume to apply for all different job titles, right? It has to be specific to specific job titles, right? So with that, don't do this alone. You are here as a group. So we are here to support and help everybody out. So join Cyber Chat on regular basis, and we will help you to become the best cybersecurity professional. Don't chase every tool. So people also, aside chasing certification, some people are also specialists in chasing tools. Oh, I have to know all these tools and know Nexus Splunk. Okay, so for tools, there are like a million of them out there. Different companies are using different tools. So if you waste your time, you waste 6 months learning Nexus or Splunk or Qualys, and you go to a company, you're applying for a job. During interviews, they might ask you, what is your experience with this tool? I know I can move around it, or I can use Splunk, but not QRadar. For the tools, they will train you on it. They don't really care. Mostly it's about what you can do and what you've done, projects. So don't waste your time chasing tools and trying to learn every single tool. You can't learn every single tool, and you cannot, it's not possible. As you are learning all the tools, there are new tools coming up the next day, right? So on the job, the only thing that they are going to train you on are the tools. People think when you get a job, they will train you. So take a shortcut, get in there, and they will train you, right? It's like you saying, take a shortcut, get a driving job, and they will teach you how to drive. Nobody's going to teach you how to drive. They are going to orient you to the different car they have, but they are not going to teach you how to drive, right? So learn your stuff, do some projects. For the tools, if you know how to use 1 or 2, that's fine. On the job, they are going to train you on whatever tool that they have. And some companies, they even have their own internal tools. It's internal to them. How are you going to learn how to use a tool that is used by only that company? So you see what I'm talking about? You cannot know unless you go and work in that company, and they will train you on it. That is not going to be something that is going to prevent you from getting the job, right? So on that note, our Memorial Day sales ending tomorrow, and we encourage you to look into our GRC, our AI governance specialist course, if you want to get ahead of the AI space, doing AI GRC, and then also our cloud security professional course. This is the best cloud security course out there. If you've done cloud security elsewhere, look into this one. This is what is going to bridge the gap between knowing and doing. And then for folks, trying to begin their career in the cybersecurity space, this course will get you from 0 to 100, where you can start working as a cybersecurity professional. The cybersecurity entry level course, 4 months, 2 months of training, 2 months of internship, working on projects. And then our PCI DSS, our payment security compliance program, where we teach you the PCI DSS framework and everything that comes with it. This is for folks with some IT background, cybersecurity background, who want to specialize in a niche in the security space, right? And then our next cohort for our internship GRC is going to start in July. So we encourage you to look into this. If you also have a lot of theory knowledge under your belt, you have a degree in cybersecurity, master's in cybersecurity, but you've never done anything in cybersecurity and not doing anything, you can work with tools. That still doesn't really mean you've worked on projects, right? So join this program to work on real world security projects. You are going to be doing this for 2 companies, 2 of our sister companies, and the projects and the companies, they will go on your resume also as your work experience. So you can also use that as well. And our WhatsApp link has been posted in the chat. YouTube has also been posted in there. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And everything that we do on Cyber Chats and beyond is posted on YouTube, so you'll be in the know all the time. And now we open the floor for questions. So if there are any questions that you had, you can bring it up now. And then also, I think there are some team lives in there. And if you put where you're joining us from, I think some folks did already. We'll give you a shout out before we wrap up. So Fred is joining us from San Antonio. And there is a lot of highs. Evans is joining us from Ohio. Bernard from Ghana. We have George from Ghana as well, and then some team lives. Sally from Dallas, Texas. Chintown, Andy. I'm not know if I got that right. Oh, Osaitu from Ghana also as well. Okay, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, David. And we have from I think it's Frank from Connecticut, or Frank Apia, or Fran Apia. And then some Leslie from Minnesota. And the list keeps going on. Okay, and then there's some questions in here as well. And okay, so any questions on, folks who are trying to break into the space, if you have any questions on any of the discussions that we had, the myth and others, and we had, okay, so some questions. I think we looked at this question, some of the things that we have different people talking about. If you are black, you cannot get a role in cybersecurity and all those funny stuff, right? Oh, and Michael is joining us from Vancouver, Canada. Michael, it's been a while. Let me hear from you and see where you're at, right? I think probably went to sleep on me, but I don't think so. I know you are busy doing other stuff, but link up and let's see what is going on. Oh, George Awa from California. Okay, so George is also one of those folks. George, if you also have something for some of the do's and don'ts when you are trying to get into the industry, I think we covered a lot. Freddie, a quick question: does Eretmis accept TA? Oh yeah, Freddie, we can talk offline on this at this time. Okay, and Dave from Virginia, Abel. Oh, so yeah, Abel, you can still join the May cohort here if you want to join. You can still join the May cohort. Carla, Baltimore, Maryland. Carla is graduating tomorrow. It's going to be fun. Abraham from Orange, New Jersey. Jaja from Maryland. And Charles, please go ahead. Manuel from Worcester. And Kelly, Pittsburgh.
Yes, thank you. I wanted just to add something. I don't know if you talk about it. The mistake when you're transitioning to cybersecurity field. most of the thing is also people are try to quit like when they do not understand any maybe concepts or something. So don't just quit like you know, but you may ask, because in cybersecurity it's most of like teamwork. So maybe something you cannot know everything. Maybe something you don't understand. It's just easy to ask maybe one of your colleague, or find somebody, and then to quit. It's not good to just quit when you don't understand anything. That's what I wanted to add
Oh,
from the
thank you,
mistake
Charles.
people make.
Thank you, Charles. And then also,
Yeah.
piggybacking on what Charles said, now, most people, when they are they want to break into the security space, they are not very objective they are not very objective with themselves, right? So there you are, you are looking for a cybersecurity gig that is paying 100K plus, right? Now you've done a program for maybe 4 5 months, 6 months. You are done. It's taking you about, like, after 3 months. If you're actively applying, you should actively applying and reaching out. You should at least get a job within 3 months of your completion. That is even pushing it, right? But let's say it takes you a year after you've completed your course for 5 months. It takes you a year to get your first cybersecurity gig paying you 100 and something, right? Now, some people will be like, yeah, I was done and it wasn't. But really, how long did it take you? So you spent a year and a half. You are getting paid 100 and something. How many years did you spend doing your degree? How much is your degree paying you? Right? How many years did you spend going to nursing school? How much effort and energy and money did you put in nursing school? How much was your starting salary for nursing or for any other field that you are in? Right? So we have to be objective, right, in terms of the timeline, and then also the effort that we are putting in. So don't apply for a job every other week and think magic is going to strike. When it comes to the job application process, it's a game of numbers, and then also making sure you are tailoring, you are following the steps and the tips and tricks. It's not just hoping, throwing a lot of resumes at jobs and hoping it's going to stick. There's a science to it. So follow the science, right? But overall, I just want everybody to be realistic with yourself, right? Look at the different career paths. Somebody goes through medical school for what, 9 years, 10 years? When they are done, what is their starting salary? Right? It doesn't mean, and how long it's going to take you to get a job, really, I'll say it all depends on you. If you're not applying, you're not going to get a job, right? If you're applying and anything is going wrong, you reach out, we figure out, okay, this is what you are doing wrong, polish it up. This is what you are doing wrong. But if you give up in the middle of it, so let's say you all started, when after 3 months, Charles is like, you know what, this is not for me, it's not going to work. He gave up. Raphael, on the other hand, kept going. And after a year, Raphael got a job. What is Charles going to get after a year? Nothing, but the year is still going to come by, right? Wouldn't Charles be able to do the same job Raphael is doing? Yes, but he quit, right? He quit after 3 months, 4 months, right? And when you dig into what he was doing for the 4 months, you see that he wasn't even actively applying, or he wasn't really all into it. But he just thought he'll just do 1 and 2, it should work. If I told you, I was going to tell you, I was going to tell you 50 no's, tell you a no, a no, a no, a no, no 50 times, and then on the 51st time, I'm going to give you a job for 150. Will you care if I told you a no on the first or second time, or even on the 40th time? You'll be smiling with a no. Okay, yes, yes, okay. Because if on the 51st you're going to get that amount of money with a yes, you keep going, right? But some people don't know. Maybe for you, you have just 4 no's before your yes comes, and you just give up. But look at the amount of money you are looking for and the type of work-life balance you are looking for, right? Does it merit that weight and that perseverance? Of course. But if you're in and you think it's a quick fix, just, turn around and there is a magic one, boom, is there. No, because there is no magic one in this business because employers, they want to have somebody who knows their stuff. So they are very, meticulous when they are selecting and picking. And fact is that it takes 28% longer to fill a cybersecurity role than all other IT roles. So, like I was saying, you have to be realistic, right? And you have to understand all these facts. So when you're applying, you are pushing. If you are pushing this, like your life depends on it, you're gonna get results in the shortest possible time. But don't be applying for a job once every month and come back and say, well, I mean, it's not working, it's not worth it. Well, then maybe you're not worth the 100 plus something salary because you don't have what it takes. You don't have in the army, we call it intestinal fortitude. That is army language of saying you don't have the bees, right? Intestinal fortitude to withstand. Because, like I said, if they are going to tell you 50 no's and your 51st no is going to be with 150, your 51st yes, 51st one is going to be with 150, 120 row, I think you'll be smiling with all the no's. So just keep that in mind. Raphael, please go ahead.
Good evening, Doctor.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, I want to add one more to step into cybersecurity. I am having a wrong mentor, meeting a wrong mentor. I had this experience when I finished my studies. I met these people online, they call them IT career switch. They made us to pay. I actually brought 2 or 3 people with me. So they made us to pay for their programs. Could you believe that at the end of the program, this guy said they didn't know that we are not citizens of UK, that the job or internship they promised us is for the citizens of UK. That alone almost frustrated us, and me particularly. So while I came here also, I met a woman telling me that a guy did a program, MSc Cybersecurity, but he has not gotten a job, and he met a mentor who told him, oh, come and do Scrum and pay 3,000. That guy ended up being frustrated too. So meeting a wrong mentor. I thank God for you. Before I settle for you, I had to be careful too. And I thank God for you. I think I'm in the right path now. Thank you.
You're welcome, Raphael. And there's a lot of times where people reach out, they need help. Hey, I've done RMF. What did you do? So if they walk us through, okay, I did this, I did that, I did that. Mostly, we want you to have a return on your investment, right? So if you want to break into the cybersecurity space, if how you started was wrong, we will redirect you. Now, if somebody comes in and say, I did IT audit or I did Scrum Master, but I want to switch and do, no, go get return on investment for your Scrum Master, unless, of course, you want to abandon that. Then maybe, right? But for most people, they are just selling what they are selling. So even if your career path is cybersecurity, they will convince you to come and do DevOps, because that is where you're going to get a job very easy. And then once you're done, they are like, oh, okay. So, I mean, keep trying, right? And then there you are, you go do Scrum Master after that. After Scrum Master, you go do IT audit. After that, somebody will put you into third party. So you're going to be just in circles, right? Nobody is really going to tell you the truth and say, hey, I think it's not how many courses you do. If you're in the same career path and you are improving yourself and getting better and better as you're moving up, that's fine. But to do data analyst and to move into Scrum Master and to move into, you don't even have any path, right? You are just confused going in circles, right? And you don't stay in one area to master it enough. And then you jump into another one because you think that is the easy, quick fix. But there is no easy, quick fix. That is the truth. You just have to stay your course and make sure you are mastering what you are doing in there, right? And you become better and better. You are not going to. We've had only one student who had one interview and got a job, right? And we had another student who didn't even do an interview and he got a job. Aside that, everybody else, they do 1 or 2 interviews, 3 before they get a job, right? So most people think they'll come in and as soon as they are done, do an interview, and that very first interview, yes, you can be, that top of the top. But also you have to know that whether they are going to move you forward or not. Most times, it's not even going to be on your technical skills or knowledge. Sometimes it will just come down to just your delivery, right? Because if they move you to the next stage and you go to the final stage, it means you are technically proficient. When it comes to soft skills, they think you're also proficient, but the little advantage is going to be who is delivering more and who is more confident, right? Because if you come off as you are not sure of yourself, you are not sure of yourself. Because when you're doing like a career move like this, a switch into cybersecurity, that tendency is there because you think you are not. But I can promise you, if you go through a training like ours, on the job, you know more than people who've been there for 10 years, for 5 years. I can promise you that. So for our students, I can't tell them that enough. Be confident, in what you know and what you can do. Be confident in your abilities because you can do way more than people who've been in the industry for 5 years. Because most people, they got there through shortcuts or they are winging it, right? So you're going to get there and people are asking you questions and you're looking like, are they talking to me or is there somebody else behind me? No, it's you. And they are coming to you for answers, right? So you have to be confident in your own delivery. If nobody wants to work with somebody who is not confident or don't come off like they don't know what they are saying. You might know more than everybody else, but if you can really show and let them feel that you are sure of yourself, that might be that competitive edge between you and somebody else that they're gonna pick, right? So a lot goes into this, but we guide you through the whole entire process. So doing a career move is not by any means easy, right? Because you are moving out of your comfort zone. You've been in a certain career for years. Now you're moving out of your comfort zone. So having to go through interviews and some people they will start and then when they get to that point, they are like, cross or not to cross, let me just stay here a little bit. That is where, you lose your momentum, right? Kindly go ahead, MR.
Hey, Dr. Adu, it's Marlon.
Oh, Marlon, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So my question is, a lot of these positions, I've just been looking around just to see, just learning about what the job descriptions look like, things like that. My question is, do a lot of these positions want people to, let's say I applied for a job in the UK, they're looking for someone to be based physically in the UK, or could that person be in the United States or someplace else?
It
In other
depends.
words, does your location, would my physical location with a lot of these positions really matter?
Okay, so for the longest, after COVID, most of the positions became either fully remote or hybrid, right? So if it's fully remote, then your presence wouldn't really be needed. Now, if you are moving into another country, then there is that immigration part to it, right? If you want to work in the UK, you have to have the work authorization. Same like if somebody in the UK wants to work in the United States. Now, mostly that is not a big issue. The companies, most of these companies, some of them will sponsor you, right, to give you the work authorization to be able to work. Mostly in the IT space is also a bit easier, right? So if it's fully remote, then you don't really have to be there in person. Now, if it is hybrid or is going to be in person, and you want to take that adventurous trip, that is also doable if the company wants to sponsor you. Right.
Okay,
So hopefully,
thank you.
yes, hopefully that helps. Danielle, please go ahead.
Hi. I think in addition to some of the mistakes is what I have seen, and I would want to point out the fact that some of us most of us, not some of us, we tend to look at the pay, 100 and something, 100 and something, 100 and something. Now, for me, I think getting into it is the most important thing. If it means I will have to take £10,000, sorry, I'm from the UK, that's why. If I've got to take $10,000 cots or $5,000 cots for 6 months or a year for me to roll my sleeves, get my hands dirty, get into the groove of things, understand what I'm doing, learn my craft, I don't mind. But some of the mistakes we do is the fact that we look at the money rather than gaining the expertise, the knowledge, and all of that. Money will come when your knowledge and confidence, everything is right. The money will eventually come. So I just feel that's one very key factor we need to look into. Thank you.
Yes, true. Yes, so that is very true. And also to add to that, looking at it from that perspective, you have to, if it's a little cut, it's fine. But sometimes don't go too low, because some companies, even if you want to take $500 a year, they're going to give you that money and have you do the job for somebody also getting paid 100 and something doing it, right? So if it's like the goal 100K, but they said, hey, we're going to give you, and there's been countless times where most of our students will go through that. Hey, we will start you off with 95, or we start you off with 90, right? And then later on, but those eventually they will end up at 100, 110. Right. So if it's a 90, that's fine. But if they say they're coming in with 70, 75, forget them. Yes, you need the experience, but you are not going to be doing a role and it's taking all your time and everything. So in the name of experience, you are really selling yourself short. Right. If it's 70, if it's 72, if even 80, you are pushing it. Right. If it's 90, 95, I got it. It can easily, you can easily push it to 100, 110, right? So yes, sometimes you have to take a low pay cut to get in, to get that experience. And also you have to make sure when you get in, you don't stay there, because nobody cares if you are going to get into a cybersecurity role and get paid 60K and stay there for 5 years. Nobody really cares. Now, when you are going to get a different role, they're still going to take you through and treat you like you are starting from the beginning, because you're interviewing with everybody else, right? So make sure you are improving yourself. Whatever you are learning more and researching more into it to make yourself more marketable and more valuable, because some people get too comfortable. They get in a role, they are doing just one thing, maybe policy review, that is what they are doing. And they don't do anything else to improve themselves. Some people even stop attending cyber chats. They will just, okay, I made it. And then when that contract is over, that is when they'll be reaching out. Hey, Dr. Edu, you guys are still doing this. I have this. And now at that time, they are very rusty, right? So any interviews they are going to is not working for them. Evans, please go ahead.
Yeah, hello, Doc.
Yes.
Okay, so mine is a question. When I joined the webinar today, I think my understanding is, I think somewhere in July, the GRC class is starting or something like that. Is that correct? I just wanted to be clear on that. My question is just basically centered on how to start this whole thing. Is it like July, like the GRC class is starting, then you join, and then you do all the learning?
You are coming in very broken. I can't really hear you that well.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's okay. And for everybody else, we are wrapping up. It's just question and answers time. So if you have to run, you can kindly do so. Yeah, go ahead, Evans.
So my question is centered on like starting the whole like cybersecurity process, because I think my understanding from the webinar is somewhere in July, I think the GRC class is starting, right? I just wanted to understand like the whole process. Is it like
the whole process? Okay.
July, it starts and then we join, and then from there we do the internship, or we have to start our studies, just an idea of how to start the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if you are starting off, you start with the entry-level course. Right now, the entry-level course, the first portion you can start at any time. The first portion is online, self-paced with one-on-one coaching and assistance. Right, so you can enroll tonight and start learning tonight. Right now, the second portion is the GRC internship and workshop. So for that, we do live sessions and we meet. With the next one is starting in July. Right now, you can also take just the internship and workshop as a program on its own if you think you have the foundation, the cybersecurity foundation, you have the knowledge and some skills already. You just want to work on projects, then you can just take the GRC internship and workshop. But if you are starting off from scratch, we don't advise you to even look at that. Go through the entry level. The first 2 months you go through training, and we take you from scratch, right? Build you up in terms of knowledge. And then also you get to work with some of the popular cybersecurity tools. Once you're done, then we move you into the GRC internship, where you actually you are going to work on some projects now, right?
Okay,
So
so
if
the
you have to
entry
start,
level, sorry. So the entry level is just, like you said, self-paced. Like it's not something that is a class. It's just
no,
you
the first
doing
portion is
something.
self-paced. Yes. So you are
Okay.
going to have a mentor, and then also you do one-on-one sessions. But it's self-paced. So you go through video lessons, lesson notes, and quizzes. But then there is always somebody for you to talk to if you need help and assistance. And your mentor, you have, his or her number, and then you can always do one-on-one sessions as well, right? But the second portion, the internship, is we do live sessions because we are working on projects in real time, right? So we do live sessions. We meet on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern to 11:30, depending on your cohort. And that is how we do that for 2 months. Sometimes we go a little bit over. Mostly it's supposed to be 12 weeks. 12 weeks? No, it's supposed to be 10, but we end up doing about 12 weeks sometimes, depending on how the projects are moving. So yes, that is how. So if you want to start with entry level, the online portion, you can start at any time. Yes. All right. And I think Evans had the last question. So I appreciate everybody's time. Now the links have been posted in there. If you have any questions, everybody, the WhatsApp group link and everything is on here. So kindly do so and join. Have a great and wonderful weekend, everyone. And I know we went a little bit over, but the questions were good. And hopefully everybody got something new for their toolbox. We are going to meet same time next week for another informative session on Cyber Chat. Stay blessed and have a wonderful weekend, everyone.